Today, we are going to dive into a really old idea that might just change how you see every single struggle you've ever had. It's called Rina Traya, the concept that we are all born with three fundamental spiritual debts. Let's figure out what they are, and, more importantly, how we can start paying them off.
So let me ask you this. What if the moment you took your first breath, you were already in the red? I know, it sounds crazy. Here in the West, we're taught that every baby starts with a totally clean slate. But ancient Vedic wisdom, it says something completely different. It says you didn't start at zero. Nope, you started with a negative balance.
I mean, think about it for a second. All those moments of what we call bad luck, right? Those times when things just completely fall apart for what seems like no reason at all. What if they aren't random? What if they're actually notifications, like a cosmic alert that an account is past due? An unpaid spiritual bill you never even knew existed.
Okay, so let's call this first part of our little deep dive, Life's Invisible Ledger. This is all about that feeling of hitting a wall you just can't see no matter how hard you push.
Does any of this sound familiar? You're doing everything right, you're following all the rules, putting in the hours, but just as you're about to cross the finish line, wham, the rug gets pulled out from under you. That job offer vanishes. A great relationship just sours overnight. An unexpected bill completely wipes out your savings. This isn't just a string of bad luck. It's a pattern.
I love this metaphor. Think of your life not as a house that you own, but more like a really high-end rental property. You get all the utilities included, the air you breathe, the sunlight, the water, but there's a cost. There's a price for the privilege of just being here. And from that perspective, that feeling of being stuck is basically the weight of overdue spiritual rent.
So what's the diagnosis for this invisible wall? Well, thousands of years ago, Vedic sages pointed to a root cause. They called it Rina Traya, which brings us to our next section, the three spiritual debts. Let's break them down.
Now this next part is absolutely crucial to get. We talk a lot about karma, right? Which is all about the actions you take in this life. But Rin, or debt, it's a totally different ballgame. It's not about what you do. It's about what you already owe just for existing. It's a pre-existing balance you're born with.
So here it is, the official definition. Rina Traya is basically the principle that our very existence is a loan from the universe. We owe a debt to nature, to the wisdom that guides us, and to the lineage that actually brought us here in the first place.
And this right here perfectly illustrates the consequence. The idea is that if you don't acknowledge these debts, if you don't start paying them, your efforts will never ever yield their full fruit. It's like having your wages garnished before the money even hits your bank account. The universe takes its cut first, and you're just left with the frustrating leftovers.
All right, let's get down to it. How do you even know which of your accounts are overdue? We're about to break down all three debts and their specific symptoms one by one.
The first, and maybe the most fundamental debt, is Deva Rin. This is what you owe to the Devas, which you can think of as the divine forces of nature. We're talking about the sun, the air, the water, the earth that grows your food, all of it.
Wow, that is a powerful and really direct quote from the source material, isn't it? But think about it. Did you ever get a bill for the oxygen you've breathed your entire life? In a hospital, that would cost a fortune. Nature just gives it to us freely, but it's not a gift, it's a loan. So to just take and take without gratitude, without giving anything back, from this perspective, it's kind of like a form of theft. So how does this debt actually show up in your life? Well, your body, which is made of the 5 elements, might start to rebel. You could face these persistent health problems that doctors just can't seem to explain, or maybe you just feel constantly out of step with the world around you. It's as if nature itself is withdrawing its support because, the rent is overdue.
Okay, on to the second debt, which builds on the first one. This is Rishi Rin, the debt we owe to the great teachers, the thinkers, the sages throughout all of history, basically the collective wisdom of humanity.
Just ask yourself, did you invent the language you speak or the math you use in your head? Of course not. We are literally standing on a mountain of inherited knowledge. And according to this wisdom, when we disrespect that knowledge or we just consume it without ever applying it, we fall into debt. The symptom is this kind of mental confusion, an intellectual fog. You might know exactly what the right thing to do is, but you still choose the wrong path. Or you find that, hey, despite all the books you read and videos you watch, your life doesn't actually change. It's like your inner GPS is just broken. And now we get to the third and honestly, maybe the most personal debt of all, Pitru Rin. This is the debt that you owe to your ancestors, to the bloodline that is literally flowing through your veins.
This metaphor is just perfect. Your ancestors are the roots of your tree. You are the living, breathing carrier of their DNA, their struggles, and their dreams. In our modern world, we often try to sever ourselves from our roots, thinking we're these independent islands. But if the roots aren't nourished, the tree just can't thrive. It's that simple.
A heavy Pitru Rin. This shows up in your home and in your personal life. It can look like constant family drama, struggles to build your own family or your own legacy, or maybe you notice the same negative patterns repeating, generation after generation. It's a huge sign that the flow of life force from your lineage has been seriously disrupted.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. That might feel a little heavy, but how do we fix it? How do we start balancing these cosmic books? Well, the good news is it doesn't take some grand, huge gesture. It just takes a fundamental shift in how you think.
And this is the crucial point, right here. It's a shift in your whole mindset. You move from a state of complaint, always asking, why is this happening to me, to a state of contribution, asking, what can I give back? This one simple shift is the master key to settling all of your spiritual accounts.
And this slide just breaks it down so beautifully. For Deva Rin, feed the birds, don't waste water or food. For Rishi Rin, stop just consuming content all the time. Read something with timeless wisdom, and then share it. Teach what you learn. For Pitru Rin, honor your ancestors. Live a life that builds on their legacy, one that would make them proud. See? It's really all about gratitude, sharing, and honoring.
So what's the goal in all this? What are we shooting for? It's to reach a state they call Enrin. This is the state of being spiritually debt-free. It's that amazing moment when the universe shifts from being your adversary, garnishing all your efforts, to being your greatest ally, amplifying everything you do.
And really, in the end, it all comes down to this one simple but incredibly profound shift in perspective. The modern world is constantly training us to ask, what can I get? But the real key to unlocking flow and abundance and peace is to start each day by asking, what do I owe?
So, as we wrap this up, just take a moment and reflect. Look at the area of your life where you feel the most stuck. Is it your health? Is it your mental clarity? Your family life? That's your clue. So I'll just leave you with this question. Which debt will you start paying today?